I'm going to now introduce Duncan Green, who's head of the Multi-Faith Chaplaincy Services for LOCOG. That's the London Organising Committee of the Olympic Games. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rudy. It's really good to be with you tonight. And it's really exciting to be here because for the last 4 years I've been leading a group in LOCOG, in the London Organising Committee, of faith leaders. I deal with on a multi-faith basis with all the different faiths, the 9 faiths that make up the interfaith network. And if somebody would like to come up with those faiths by the end of the evening, I'll find a pin badge for you, if you can guess. And I think what's been exciting for me is this journey with the different faith communities. Now, the Christian faith has been represented by an organisation called More Than Gold, which is a Christian response to the Games, and Rudy has been very much part of that. But Rudy came to me and said, we want to do something special here. We want to engage with not just within the church, but we want to get out, and we want to get out into the community. And when I look across the country, and another hat I wear is I work for the Church of England as their national coordinator for the Olympics. And when I go around the country, I meet all sorts of people from local authorities. So it's not just the London local authorities. And I see what they're doing across the country. They've got projects going on the back of the Olympics. They're saying, well, the Olympics is coming, it may be, the majority of it in London, but actually it's going to affect the whole country. And I can confirm that, having been in Beijing and also having been in Vancouver. In Vancouver, 3 weeks out from the Olympics, the Winter Olympics, they were talking in the press about riots and demonstrations against the Olympics. 3 days out, the parties started. 2 weeks in, the Canadian Prime Minister was talking about the rebirth of his country. Not just the rebirth of Vancouver or rebirth of Whistler, where the activities were taking place, but the rebirth of his country, because it affected the whole country so much. And that's what will happen with the Olympics and Paralympics come to the UK. This is the exciting thing about this project, is instead of the church just thinking about, oh, what can we do for a bit of mission and outreach, it's actually said, the vision statement for the organising committee is to use the power of the Games to inspire change. And that's just what this project, Passing the Baton, does. It's about changing mindset. Instead of looking to see what I can get out of the community, it's actually looking to see what can we put into the community. How can we work together? And how can we work together, with young people? How can we work together, with the safer neighbourhood policing? How can we work together with the local authority? What can we do together that's going to inspire change? Now, you wouldn't have got this award, the Inspire Mark, unless somebody could pick up, the application form and say, actually, there's something in this. This is a project inspired by the Olympic and Paralympic Games, and it's a project that's going to bring about, it's going to deliver something. It's not just a name, it's not just we've got it, we can forget about it. It's actually about delivering some outcomes. And the outcomes are Rudy's just outlined, that, and peace, is a massive thing. In our neighbourhoods. The Roman Catholic Church went out and they asked the children and the young people within their secondary schools, within their comprehensive schools, what did they want from the Olympic Games? And they thought they'd say, a visit by an athlete or free tickets. We'd all like free tickets, wouldn't we? Or whatever. But no, they said, we just like some peace in our neighbourhoods. That was from young people. They're fed up of the knife culture. They're fed up of the gang warfare. They're fed up of actually living, looking over the shoulder to see who's coming to get them next. And this project can actually help to bring about change here and in every other local authority where it's being run. And that's what's exciting about it. And the exciting thing is that as a church, you've got behind that, and you've gone out from your 4 walls and you've gone out into the community. You've engaged with other people, and at the end of it, it will deliver a fantastic project. And I'm really pleased and proud that you've got this Inspire Mark. And I'd also like to pay tribute to the work that Rudy's done in this, because he's really worked his socks off to make sure that you get it, and it's not an easy thing to get. you know, and you have to keep going backwards and forwards with different answers and questions and
About
queries that they bring up. But then, you know, he persevered, and you know, that's the exciting thing. And I'm really pleased and proud that you've got this. And I'm really looking forward to not just what happens during the next year, but what happens after that, because this is all about legacy. This is all about changing the mindset of people in our communities, and that will live on long after the Olympic and Paralympic Games. So, you know, thank you for inviting me tonight, and I'm really pleased that you were able to, you know, get this mark, and I look forward to working with you for the next 2 or 3 years.
Thank you very much. I'd now like to ask Councillor and John, OBE, Leader of the Council, to say a few words.
Thank you very much. I haven't seen Rudy for quite a number of years, not since he was working on Harsden City Challenge, so I'm really pleased to see you again, Rudy, and it's good to know that you're doing all this kind of work. And this is an important occasion, and I know that people who work with VOCOG know that it's very bureaucratic. When they come to a place like Brent, though, we're used to big sporting venues in our borough, we're used to parking schemes, we're used to road closures. We have Zaretha Brown here, who's our 2012 officer. We're used to organising those sorts of nuts and bolts things, so we don't get anxious about Olympics coming here, like some other boroughs do. And we are very lucky to be an Olympic borough. We're going to have the football here, we're going to have the badminton here, we're going to have the rhythmic gymnastics, and we can't wait. And you're absolutely right, a city has a party when the Olympics are coming. I'm old enough to have been at the Montreal Olympics, and I went to the show jumping there in particular, but the whole city was partying. Everybody joins in, and that's what we're going to be doing next year. But actually, you're right, it's about the legacy, and it's about what we do for people across the age range, but particularly young people. We're a young borough here, we've got lots and lots of young people. And every organisation, faith groups and others, who can attract people, young people in particularly, so that they can engage with them, teach them some skills, and then they are better equipped for life that follows. I've got to hand it to you, I think that's amazing. And I personally, sport and culture are very, very important, and that is the Olympics. But I don't think people realise how important the creative industries are. We've got a young person at the back here who I was speaking to, Nikki. She writes music, and she lives in Cricklewood. Well, why shouldn't she be connected in and able to actually perform, do her sort of writing and get it performed somewhere? The creative industries are very important because all of us want good entertainment. We pay a lot of money for tickets to concerts, to plays, to theatres. We want to see good lighting, good sound, good acting, good comedians, across the whole of the choices that we have in a modern, sophisticated, educated and prosperous society. And so that's a young person's area, is it not? Why are we not doing more? We're doing a lot here in Brent though, and they're even, I was speaking to Danny Maher from Cricklewood Homeless Concern today, Nikki, and he was telling me about how many artistic people there are in Cricklewood, how many people who write, who paint, and who make music. And so you're in the right place there, and we've just got to make a few more connections. But down in South Kilburn, here in Wembley, we've got Fountain Studios here, the home of the X Factor. Rachel Evans from Fountain Studios is connected into Brent's cultural strategy. We've got the Tricycle Theatre, it's all about young people and involving them. We're the best place you could do this work, Rudy, that's what I'm telling you. We've got lots of young people.
Cancel all the other ones, cancel all the other ones.
We've got lots of young people, we've got lots of good ideas, and I for one, I know Ronald is busy filming me at the moment. I don't think you should do that. I'm not young enough to go on your films. But actually his radio, we've all been down there and talked to young people there, and some of the stuff that's done there is absolutely amazing. So I can only say well done for getting this particular accreditation, and good luck for your work over the coming months until we have this fabulous, fabulous time in London Borough of Brent, across London and across the UK. I wish you the very best.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Can I ask Councillor Zafar Franco to come and say a few words? Yeah.
So it's not Stonebridge taking over, but it is the best ward, I think. And we like to see the Olympics in Stonebridge as well, not just in Wembley. Look, I think, first of all, I'd like to say thank you to Rudy and to Ronnie as well, I think, who does also a fantastic amount of work, and it should be recognised the amount he does with young people. I think it's very appropriate now that we do have Inspire here in Brent, because, let's be honest, it has been a tough time in our community. It has been a tough time for young people. So the fact that we now have this opportunity to give to young people, to make a difference, I think is fantastic. And again, thanks to all you guys for doing that. But Anne touched on creative arts, and we have very much creative young people. I'd also like to touch on business and enterprise, because I like to use that creativity to ultimately to make money and actually give our young people a solid future. Because with talent, with hard work, and with creativity, we can make that difference. And I hope that is the legacy that we can work with, not only just in Brent, but hopefully starting off in Stonebridge first. But thank you all very much, and God bless you all, have a great time.
Right, I did mention about health and well-being being quite important as part of this programme. So Lily McCura is here from the NHS, and we'll say a few words about the link between the NHS and London 2012.
So my name is Lily McCura. I'm head of 2012 Health Improvement Legacy for NHS London, and we work very closely with LOCOG, doing the range of things from everything from making sure we're going to have safe and healthy games, like the ambulances, and making sure that, again, that everything, the infrastructure's right, and but the most important thing, and kind of my passion, is actually about making sure that we have a strong legacy. And London is the first host city that's ever going to attempt to achieve getting a health legacy. And I think that for me, this particular project is, and it's kind of almost emblematic of that, and I'm actually not surprised that it managed to get the Inspire mark, because it demonstrates everything that we want to see, and we want to show our young people and to show the world about what we can achieve, both in terms of its ambitions, its aspirations about improving people's health, engaging people who might actually be otherwise dispirited, and particularly at these times when we are going through tough times. In a way, we couldn't have had the Olympics and Paralympics at a better time, really, in terms of actually being able to energise people. And I think as well, the other thing that I'd like to highlight is that whether you say Baton or Baton, I've been saying Baton, but is that, again, that just is the spirit of it. It's the spirit of the diversity, particularly in Brent, but also of London, and also about what we're going to see next year with our welcoming the world. And again, I see this project as being something that's going to rise from strength to strength. It gets my personal support, and also, again, the support of colleagues back in NHS London, and we're going to be working very closely with Rudy and all of you again to make sure that we manage to make the most of this opportunity that we have here. Congratulations.
Thank you. Good evening.
I actually run a small IT business in North London, and we've got a situation where we've got young people who are actually into Facebook and all this kind of stuff, and sometimes we're asking ourselves, why are they spending so much time on this nonsense? Yet this whole social media, Facebook and Twitter and all of that, is becoming increasingly important. And yet we've got businesses, especially small businesses and small business owners, who are actually really struggling to know how they can make use of this new technology to actually help their business. So it seems to me that there's something that we can do in terms of using the skills that these young people have actually developed, and somehow bridging that gap to kind of make it so that these skills can be perceived to be employability skills that can be used by businesses. Because recently there was actually a survey done which actually says that 86% of small business owners are really struggling to know how they can use this technology in their business. Yet the young people have these skills, but we don't see it as employability skills. And somehow we need to actually bridge that gap, to actually make it so that they can actually use that skill to improve their own chances of actual employment. And when you look at the internet and the way it's actually exploding, the sad thing about our community is that quite often we are not there. We need to get there. Otherwise, there's an information gap that will continue to actually widen. So, if you think about phone shops, you see phone shops are actually run by young people, you know, because they know more about phones than we do. It is the same thing that if we can actually just work together, and I'm very, very excited about working with Rudy in trying to make this happen, so that we can take the skills that people have and actually show how those skills can be worth a fortune within the job market, so that we can actually do something about the employment levels within our young people. Young people are the future. We have to make sure that they have an economic basis to be part of this society. Thank you.
We're from an organisation called J-Star, and I know that when we say J-Star, people automatically think about music. But J-Star for us stands for Just Stand Together and Reach. It's an organisation that's a couple of years old now, and was brought about by a passion that we have for young people and the needs of the young people within our community. And also recognition that our young people in today's society, they have multiple needs. And there are lots of different services out there, so we're not here to kind of reinvent the wheel as such, but we're here to actually support young people through the difficult issues that they may have, because the issues that young people are facing today, when you look at, you know, in our parents' days, they didn't face what the young people are facing today. So it's good to hear that Rudy has worked so hard and actually helped us to get the Inspired mark, because I feel that the work that we're doing and actually helping young people to come together and realise that they can achieve, because, you know, they've been downtrodden, there's lack of jobs, lack of training, lack of all sorts of things. And it's for us to help them to realise that there are opportunities out there. They may not realise that it's there, but they are there. And we want to support them through that process. And in doing that, what we want to do is to encourage them to actually take part in what's going on, for us to tell them that, you know, there is a future. It's not just about the Olympics. It's not a one-hit wonder. Even after the Olympics, we want to ensure that they realise that they have a purpose, they have a goal, and that we can help them to achieve that goal. What we also want to do is to help them to evaluate the services that are out there to support them. Because, as I say, there are lots of organisations out there. You know, there are organised in housing, probation service, and all the rest of it. But what we want to do is to get the young people to get involved in their community and get the community together. In August, we had an event at the Unity Centre in Church Road, and we called it Community Link Up. And we invited a number of young people to come along and tell us their views on what they want about their future, what they want to see in their borough, you know, what they feel about what's happening. And I know that at that time, you know, we had the riots and all the rest of it, and you know, there were, you know, feelings were high. But the reality is that, you know, the young people just want a chance. They just want a chance. They want to be given a chance. And they want people to, you know, to support them and give them the support that they need, you know, to be able to achieve their goals. Now, this is a fantastic opportunity. It's an opportunity for them to get involved in all sorts of areas. And yes, I agree with you, to be creative, because we have a lot of creative young people within this borough and many other boroughs. But I think that we have to come together as a community to recognise that, to support them, and to help them to achieve their goals. But we're not going to do that unless we come together.
Dr. Sunday Papaola to come and say a few words. Sunday, we've worked together at Imperial College London on a good programme called Creative Futures.
Thank you very much, Rudy. Thank you for inviting me. I'm also from Wharton Forest, which is one of the Olympic borough, I believe. Is that right?
Yes.
So, and from driving to work every day, I see the progress on the Olympic side. To the extent, 2 years ago, I actually took a lot of my students onto the Olympic side to build things. Again, this is all part of being creative, being part of it. They spent all week on the side and they were building things, a little bridge, a little structure. It's all about engineering. Well,
and also part of our work in the neighbourhoods is linking with other parts of London. So I'm glad that Devon Thomas is here from Lambeth, and we'll be working very closely with Lambeth Enterprise. Devon, just to say a few words. Thank you.
And we want to connect, and Greenwich is an Olympic borough. Lambeth, we've got some things going on there. And as you know, Brixton, which is the capital city, it's the home of Jamaican community. Next year's 50th anniversary of independence and 50th anniversary of Trinidad and Tobago independence. And Jamaica currently has every single world champion in sprinting. You know, we all want peace and safety. We all want to have successful enterprising communities. We're sharing these philosophies and sentiments, and we're going to be working alongside the initiatives that have been taken up here in Bradford.